So here's some private thoughts, I'm not sure who I'll share them with, about group dynamics. I have some thoughts about this because I don't live with a group. I've never identified with a group very well. When I was raised very religiously, and the dominant identity was religious. And that fell apart pretty quickly because I realized that the fundamental basis of my religion, the belief in a spiritual world, was false. And a lot of people worldwide find their primary identifying group in their spirituality. That's, has rituals surrounding it. It's an organizing principle of ethics for their family. Hopefully not their state. But that's the most common, I guess. Other people do have large extended families that they identify with, which can also be great or bad, just as religions can be. Some people identify with their government, which is often very dangerous, because governments do some evil stuff. They tend to control things to a much greater degree than you would want, and they tend to be corrupt as hell. I mean, at least within a family, even though families can often be very negative for people, at least people are often looking out for the offspring. They care about the future. Most governments don't care about the future of the people that live there. Perhaps some individuals do, but as an organization, they're usually thinking much shorter term. Some people identify with their culture, which could be good or bad. Certainly I love cultural diversity and all the beautiful music and food and all the great things about culture. But some people use that identity to decide the other people are bad. Hopefully in this world that's falling apart quickly. We're meeting each other. And one of my theories about why I think there's such a fucked up mess in the world is that we're getting to know each other. Really, it's only recently, it's recent in historic times that humans have even had civilization. But shit. It's only recently with television and movies, which are unilinear. They are one to many, or few to many, communication forms. Have we seen the world? And reading, people have never been that good at. And it doesn't do a very good job describing things, really. So really, it's movies and TV that have brought the world together in a common perception. But now there's something more exciting and still very, very new. People think about it like as being old now because, like, I've been around technology all of my adult life, and the internet and everything. A lot of people are newer to it than that. And so the problem is we're getting to know each other and we don't like it. So instead of seeing a kind of a unifying element of the internet, of us having greater empathy for each other, us enjoying each other's cultures, all that's going on as well. Hopefully we can certainly promote that. Instead we're seeing that people are dividing. They are hating everyone else. They're looking for their individuality, and that's great. I actually like that a lot. But they're deciding everyone else who isn't them is bad. And they're demonizing each other. I mean, I'm probably in the most hated group in the society I come from by the noisiest, most fucked up people. Even though I haven't done anything personally. And in theory, they are open-minded, I guess the general term now is liberals. But they're like totally closed-minded. They're totally not liberal. I mean, I used to say I was a liberal. But whatever the word means has changed so much that now liberal means a bunch of hatred. And apparently so does conservative. And neither a liberal or conservative position inherently has to be mean and evil. It's just that both those groups have allowed, or maybe they can't stop, the most obnoxious, noisy, rude, fucked up people to control the voice of the group. That's politics. But it's deeper than that. You know, it's certainly stylistic as well. Like, it's fine, you know, if young people want to change their style or their culture to experiment with their identity and how they feel. But it's unfortunate they feel like they have to join with some other group to have their individuality fit within some other group. Let's say they become goth, not picking on goths, you know, or they're a hippie, a deadhead. I was slightly deadhead-esque at one point because my girlfriend was. Fine with me. It's not a bad thing to be. Some people do find their identity in their work, in what bands they like. People ask you, like, what music do you like? And that's a point of connection. If we like the same music, then we're good with each other in some way. Even though that's a fairly trivial attribute, really. I mean, what if someone liked some totally different music than you, but you agree with them ethically? It's just frosting culture, in my opinion. Or like how you dress, you know? Who gives a fuck how you dress? Yet some people, if you wear socks with sandals, will just freak out like you're committing some evil sin. I've done it twice. It's because my feet were damaged. And I still wanted them to breathe. But, well, twice that I remember. And one time there was this woman here, and she was just like, oh my God, it's horrible, the socks and sandals. Ah! It's like, my opinion of her just went down very far for that and some other reasons. It's just like, that's how shallow you are? You give a fuck if somebody else is wearing socks and sandals? Really? And of course, other people also have fashion as their identifying group. Many people think if they buy a name brand thing, makes them better. Conspicuous consumption is common, where you're going to show the world that you have more money than they do, which mainly makes you look like an idiot. You know, and I'm not saying it's bad to buy, you know, nice things, quality things, hopefully, but just shit to show off is like, really shows you have no character. So that is my point, to try and criticize each of the many groups, all of whom seem to be, you know, to have within them horrible people. Any group. You know, there's assholes who are gay people. I'm not making an asshole joke there. That was not on purpose. But there's, you know, everybody thinks their group is good somehow. Even like the whole LGBT, I forgot the G. LGBTQI plus whatever. All it means is anybody other than cisgender heterosexual person. Because that's the most hated group. And so it's anybody other than them. The term people of color. What do people of color the fuck have in common with each other? What they mean is not white. Because white is bad. It's over and over. It's bullshit. Now, I happen to be in the group I'm suggesting is especially picked on, but that's just because I notice it. You know, shit that would be censored instantly on social media if it was about any other group is just fine if it's about heterosexuals or white people, you know, stuff like that. So it's kind of just basically groupism, I guess, maybe that's a term I should actually promote, is groupism. It's just my fucking group, whatever the one I pick, is better than yours. Another example of that would be generational bullshit, where it's like, well, I'm Gen Z, I'm against those boomers, you know, or Gen X is like this. And it's like, well, no, they aren't. Boomers are not like boomers, Gen Xers are not like Gen Xers, and I hope Gen Zers are not like the stereotype of them. that is made up bullshit. People are individuals. You know, I don't fit the fucking stereotype for my generation at all. I'm an older Gen X. Big fucking deal. You know, I was raised totally different than most people. And lots of people were raised different than the most noticeable demographic in their group. Like somebody would say, oh, well, a bunch of the boomers were all hippies. You know, in the late 60s, 70s, it was a hippie. No. It was a small group of rich, spoiled children, or some rebels too, not children, young people, breaking some norms of society and stuff like that. But they're an extreme minority because it takes money to just split, you know, and not be working at a gas station or supporting your family, you know. So, I wonder about that as I think about inviting people to my home again. What sort of group do I want it to be? You know, because I get so many anonymous people contacting me wanting more information, though they have tons if they're willing to Google for fucking 10 minutes. They got videos and writings and all sorts of shit. And they're looking for people to victimize. It's very obvious. I have been victimized by people. And I want to cut all those fuckers out. So, I do want to be in a group. Being in a group has huge advantages. So I don't think the idea of just rejecting, for example, the institution of religion is useful. I don't think it's bad that you are close to people you work with. There's many cases where that's a functional thing within a culture. I don't think it's bad to love and enjoy your culture's culture, your country's culture, your region's culture. It's great, love it. But as soon as that turns into hate, it's difficult. And so I wonder, what is the biggest culture we can define as a world that we want to live in? We want to promote. That I want to live in. And in which ways do I discriminate against which kinds of people? And that's an exercise for you. Is to figure out, well, who would you discriminate against? Some of them are real easy, right? Like most of us are against pedophilia. Some pedophiles aren't. God damn it. Arr. Obviously, people who commit other crimes are probably against having those crimes committed against them. So, they could be part of a criminal group, though, that within their group allows criminal activity to be inflicted upon people outside their group. Whether that's a, mafia or a gang or a government. Government being the most common violent organization that you have the most exposure to. So I want a group. I want to be in a group. But I'm scared shitless of all groups. And I want to be in a group that accepts people who don't fit into their group, who are seeking something different out. But I don't want them to have to join a group that is equally restrictive. I want them to actually have more cultural opportunity and freedom within the group than they had before. In their family that told them they weren't okay unless they do what the family says, or in their nation, which their government tells them they have to be a certain way or can and can't do this or that, which might be every fucking detail of life as it is in the country I come from. You can't even ride in the back of a pickup truck. The fuck? So I imagine this group as allowing for a high level of freedom And, you experience that at some festivals. Burning Man would be a good example, where for a very short time, a bunch of the cultural rules don't apply. One of the terms for that is a temporary autonomous zone. That is a term, temporary autonomous zone, which was created by Hakim Bey in an essay. I haven't read that essay for a long time. I don't remember it being especially enlightening, but it certainly is a useful concept. Except I want to live in something like a temporary autonomous zone all the time. And Burning Man's a whole nother topic where, bad things still happen in Burning Man. It's imperfect, blah, blah, blah. But it's still one of the greatest social experiments in the world. That's a pretty high compliment coming from me. So there's a danger if you get a group of people together, though, that some of them, being like all people are, almost, they will try to take it over and define the culture the way they want it to be. Everybody has to do what they say. They have to use the words that they want used, how they want them used. They want activity to be a certain way, and they restrict action in ways that destroy the autonomousness of it. So that's a big danger. Unless we can better define, which Burning Man does a good start at, like radical free expression, and some of the 10 principles are useful. And I think that by explicitly saying which of many ways of being are fine, but then also allowing people to self-organize into smaller units where they have different expressions that they enjoy is perfect. It is the solution, as far as I can tell. God fucking bullshit. All I want to do is carry a jacket and not have it fall off me. Not have to wear it either. Fuck. I'm a pretty fucked up guy. And part of me being fucked up is by being alone so long. It's been great, and it's the only way I'd be able to think up the things I have thought up. But I think that there is this actual huge number of people in the world who would love to be part of something that shares some of their culture, not all, not forced, all voluntary, and they can even switch between groups, probably in a slow way. And I'm not even talking about like polyfidelity. I've mentioned polyfidelity families. I think that's a great idea. I do like the idea that people only fuck within their group. I have concerns about diseases. There are diseases, we think we've solved a lot of diseases, but people are still way sicker than they need to be. And part of that is lifestyle, and part of it's just the disease. And we can get rid of a whole bunch of them. I think we should set up an attack plan for every disease. And I can do that. I can just make a list, and we can say, well, we can get rid of this one, this one, this one, this one. Why do people have bed bugs? Can't we just get rid of that once and for all? No, we can't, because there's not in a open society, because people are going to do whatever the fuck they want to do, which includes sleeping in beds that are very suspect and passing bed bugs around. It's true for STDs. We could get rid of a lot of STDs if everybody would just get checked and then not have any contact with anyone outside that group. Tuberculosis, still a common problem apparently. I might have it. A lot of people are carriers of it. It just doesn't happen to manifest itself. And so we look at those kind of diseases. We also look at cultural diseases. Like, why is rape even a fucking thing? Maybe I just don't personally understand it or something, but I don't even think I could rape someone. I don't think I would have the physical ability. Unless you get really waffly with your definition of rape and the male gaze, and you know, I raped some chick with my eyes or something, which I probably have done thousands of times, you know, just by looking at her.